This is the WWE NXT April 29, 2025 full show results video. Hendry makes his entrance in the arena tonight and gets on the mic and says he sees what Trick is doing for what it is and he's not gonna fall into his trap, so he's gonna say his name and make him appear right now. Instead, Darkstate appears in the crowd. Hendry does his best to fight them off, but that damn numbers game wins the day and he eats the tossing assisted powerbomb. Cut to earlier today, where Ava Raine congratulates IYO Sky on her WrestleMania win and welcomes her back to NXT, and it all sets up her tagging with Jordynne Grace tonight against Roxanne Perez and Julia. Back from the commercial, Carmen Petrovic is chatting with Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley when Ashante Adonis rolls up to tell her to stop messing with losers and she's got a match against Sol Ruca tonight. Carmen rightfully tells him not to be rude and he apologizes to Gigi and Tatum and asks when this match is. Adonis says tonight and she gets upset at not having time to prepare, but he rushes her away with talk of when you win tonight, we have a title match. Then we saw a match between Lexis King versus Ricky Saints for the NXT North American Championship, and the result of this match was Ricky Saints defeated Lexis King by pinfall with Rochambeau, retaining the NXT North American Championship. The Culling get a backstage segment where Shawn Spears strategizes with each of them in turn as to how to get the results they seek and reminds them he's here for them all. Back from commercial, Tony D'Angelo makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says everyone can relate to betrayal in their lives, but he didn't expect it to come at Stand and Deliver. He gave him the benefit of the doubt, and it made him think about when they were kids, and he always had his back when he'd pop off against bigger kids, but that's what loyalty is. He's gonna pay for his sins, because now the whole family's in disarray. Nobody's heard from Luca Cruzifino, Adriana Rizzo's in hiding. Then security comes down and Staxs appears on the Tron at the bridge where they'd meet sometimes. He says he's gonna tell Tony exactly what he needs to hear. He's sick of taking his orders and D'Angelo's been getting soft and making decisions that make people think they can be pushed around. We see a bunch of second-tier D'Angelo family goons on the apron behind him, and Staxs continues, asking Tony who he can even trust. The security tries and fails to jump D'Angelo, and after he fends off the security guards he says Staxs will have to come and take it. Back from the commercial, Metaphor are reunited in celebrating Gnome's NXT Heritage Cup victory together. Lash Legend says they need to talk, and a lot has changed since Dar's been gone, with her and Jakara getting opportunities and Oro Mensah tearing it up on Evolve, and it's time for Oro, Jakara, and herself to spread out and do their own things. Gnome says what made Metaphor special was that they always took care of themselves, and they agree to break up amicably and have one last group hug before Gnome sits down and gets weird about the cup again. The next match happened between Carmen Petrovic versus Sol Ruca, and the result of this match was Sol Ruca defeated Carmen Petrovic by pinfall with Soul Snatcher. Post-match, Ashante Adonis berates Petrovic for losing and she lays him out with a roundhouse kick. Back from the commercial, Trick Williams makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says Hendry better be glad Darkstate got to him first because he doesn't belong here. But he can't lie, Joe got the best of him last week and he was a little bit off of character, maybe he even crashed out. But he felt better when he looked up his schedule and whipped his ass at TNA Rebellion. But he's moving on to bigger and better things and he still wants his NXT championship back from Oba Femi. Then comes Ava Raine and says Trick just doesn't get it, and she had to kick him out of the arena last week and destroyed a camera and then went to another promotion to attack their champion. He says he's been thinking about it, and he used to think that Trick Williams is NXT, but after Sunday he thinks he's bigger than NXT. He's the biggest star here and now he's the biggest star in TNA, too, and Ava says if he wants another title shot, fine, but he has to go to the back of the line and win a 25-man battle royal next week. Julia chats with Roxanne Perez backstage and admits that Roxanne was right, and they're unstoppable together. Back from the commercial, Oba Femi is interviewed backstage and says Trick Williams' complaints sound more and more like the cries of an overgrown child, but it doesn't matter if he fights him one more time or 1 million more times, the title will stay on his shoulders. The Undertaker rolls up and says he's said it before but this is Oba's yard for now. He's got some guys from LFG that are gonna be coming for him really soon, and 3 of them roll up behind him. Femi says he looks forward to the challenge and shakes the dead man's hand. The next match happened between Hank and Tank versus Josh Briggs and Yashiki Inamura for the NXT Tag Team Championship, and the result of this match was Hank and Tank won the match by pinfall with the assisted powerslam on Josh Briggs, retaining the NXT Tag Team Championship. Tavian Heights says Charlie Dempsey isn't with them right now because he's pissed that Miles Bourne tagged with J. Yvonne Evans last week, and Miles says it's time for them to break out and he's gonna be in the Battle Royal. Tavian is worried about what Charlie will think, but he wants in the Battle Royal too. We get a vignette for the all-new, all-different Chase U wherein Andre Chase unloads on some poor guy for hurting out when Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors show up late to class, and it's just like old times. Sol Ruca and Zarya are chatting backstage when Kalani Jordan rolls up to congratulate her on her win and talk about how she defended the title every week when she was NXT North American Champion. Sol tells her to step up if she has an issue. Jordan does so, and Zarya steps up and says she's not defending the title next week, and if Kalani wants to step up, she has to go through her first. We get earlier tonight footage of Hank and Tank checking on Joe Hendry in the trainer's room and telling him they have his back against Dark State. He just has to say honk honk and they'll be there. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Julia and Roxanne Perez versus IYO Sky and Jordynne Grace, and the result of this match was IYO Sky and Jordynne Grace win by pinfall with the diving moonsault from IYO Sky on Roxanne Perez. Stephanie Vaquer is talking to Ava Raine backstage about being ready to defend her title again. Ava says it should be either Julia or Jordynne Grace, and she knows she's gonna wanna fight both of them, but she's not letting her do that. Instead, we'll have a good old-fashioned #1 contenders match next week. IYO Sky celebrates the victory in the ring, and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's NXT show? Tell me in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe the channel for more updates, and thanks for watching.